welcome to another episode of The Way of the Wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. I'm your host, Don Texan, and of course with me, again, as always, is Carol Ann.
Hi, welcome. And tonight we are doing an interview with the manager of community policing, Dave Cusson.
Hi, thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here.
So let's get right into it. What is community policing all about? Let's start with here in Port Alberni.
So community policing here is a group of dedicated volunteers that donate thousands of hours every year to safety awareness programs. So we have a variety of core safety programs that they come out and participate in, weekly, daily, yearly. And, they do things like speed watch. So you've probably seen the speed board on the side of the road and, the sign, the speed's going up as people drive by. But that's really an awareness program. There's no tickets that generate out of that, but it's really telling people, hey, your speed is this. If you're speeding, maybe you should look at your speedometer and your behavior and slow down a bit, because everyone's in a rush these days, and so that's one of our core programs. The other one is cell watch, so distracted driving. So we'll be on street corners, looking out for people that are holding their phones, texting, or talking on their phones. So again, building awareness around distracted driving.
Okay.
Another big one is our crime watch program. So our motto is observe, report, deter.
Okay,
So,
again, observe.
Report.
I got my eye on you, observe.
See it. Report it if it needs to be reported.
To whom?
To the police.
Okay.
And deter is really just being there. And sometimes just being there is enough to kind of prevent crime from happening. So Crime Watch is really volunteers driving around, and they're specially trained on what to observe and what to report. Because they're not going to report everything, but they're going to report things that could result in a crime. And so that's a very, really strong program in the valley here. Another one we have is auto crime awareness. So in the summer or in the better weather, they go out into the parking lots and they look for vehicles that are, I call them primed for crime. So maybe the windows are down and there's a purse sitting on a seat or a wallet or merchandise that would be easily stolen. And then we have a really unique program called property crime awareness.
That's interesting.
So Don, let's say someone stole your lawnmower.
Okay.
And you report it to the police. So once a month, I look at the crime stats around property crime, break and enter, theft of vehicles. I formulate a list, and then I create this letter. And many people have received these, but this letter is actually written by the officer in charge of the RCMP detachment. And it's telling people that, hey, there's been a crime in your area, and so there's really kind of a legitimacy to it. And then inside that letter is a package of brochures and safety tips and how to secure your residence. There's an actual survey called C.O.P, which is crime prevention through environmental design. So you can actually survey your property and see where you need to bolster and like maybe put cameras, better lighting, change the shrubs, stuff like that. So that package goes out. So a month later, Don, our volunteers are going to come to your neighborhood and deliver these letters to 10 of your neighbors. So then now that neighborhood has an awareness of going, hey, there's been a crime in our area. Maybe we should pay attention to this stuff. Maybe we should talk to each other.
Those letters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must live in a good neighborhood.
You're pretty good then.
Well, my
touch
neighborhood.
wood, touch wood.
Yeah. Nobody wants to
Hello,
walk
neighbors.
that hard. Hi.
Yeah, so that's a great service because the volunteers hand deliver them. They get to interact with people. I often get calls. Hey, this is what happened. And for me, it's a great opportunity to discuss safety, but maybe encourage people to come volunteer. So that's another one of our core programs. Another one is our Project 529, our bike registration program.
So what's the significance of 5, 2, and 9?
So 529 is really cool how it came about. The fellow that invented the Xbox, he retired. And he is pretty brilliant in that world of computers. So he had his mountain bike stolen. And he said, there's got to be a better way. So he created this bike registry, and his goal was to register 10 million bikes in 10 years. And that registry went from just
When did this begin?
Oh, it
The
began.
90s? Or
No, it began probably about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And it began in the States, and then now it's all North America, and then it's national now. It's all over the world, international.
Oh, wow.
And so he created this free registration app, the word free. And it's just an app you download to your phone, and you can take the phone and you can register your bike, take pictures of it, put all the details in it. And it goes on this international registry now. So if your bike gets stolen, right?
Ends up in
You
Seattle.
have all the info. You can call the police and go, my bike is a red Norco, and here's my serial number, and here are the pictures. You can also tell the app, hey, my bike got stolen. It tells all the people in your area to keep an eye out for my bike. So it's really cool, and they have linked with the police forces all over. And so 529 stands for, believe it or not, the fellow that invented it said, I want to do less 9 to 5 work. I want to just work from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
That's very clever.
So that's what that means.
Okay.
But I think he's expanded from 5 to 9 to 9 to 5. But it's a wonderful program, and we've been pushing it here. Like our bike shops are all on board. You know what the detachment is. And we really want people to self-register their bikes. But really just go Google Project 529 or 529 Garage, and you can get the app on your smartphone.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Do you have a bike?
I have.
You don't have a bike.
I have matching bikes.
Oh, okay.
They're really nice, but I've never ridden them. But you know, I did buy them because they were cute.
Well,
And they were pink. Okay.
No, they're not
No,
pink,
they're
but they're
pink.
expensive. So it's a
I
small
had a
thing
blue
I've
bike.
never thought.
I sold it.
but bike theft is a problem, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere, and because bikes can be converted to cash or whatever, and so it's sad. Like when a child or a teen leaves their bike outside and they forget, and then the bike's gone the next day. They've worked hard to save money for their bike, and now their bike's missing, and so we really want to promote people to secure their bikes, lock them up inside if they can, but get them registered, because then the police can, any bike that comes into the police department gets checked on the national database, but also on Project 529. So it's great because we can get bikes back to people that
Well, what
normally
if,
wouldn't
like,
have.
I'm just thinking of a certain scenario. A bike is stolen and it's brought to a pawn shop, and the pawn shop buys it. Then it's
Well-
recovered at the pawn shop. What happens then?
Well, the pawn shops have to report all the property they take in, and they send a report to the
okay.
police.
That's how it works.
And the police check things. So for the most part, we don't find many stolen bikes in the pawn shops.
Oh, okay.
They go elsewhere. They get taken apart. They get reconfigured. They get sold. Go out of town. So the whole idea is with this international bike registry, no matter what town that bike goes to, the serial numbers will reveal who it belongs to. So it's great. You'll see more and more of those bikes
What
being
happens
registered.
to all the bikes that get collected and then like brought in and then that you don't find their homes? Because
Yeah.
I felt like we had something to do with that at my work,
Yes.
but I'm not sure
So
because
bikes that
happened
get
yet.
turned into the police get checked to see who
Yeah.
owns them. The police hold on to them for 90 days,
yeah.
right? And that's kind of the policy. And if no one claims it, then they're donated to a charity. And in this case, the Salvation Army.
Yeah. I just haven't seen any come in, so you just probably haven't had any, but
We're working towards getting some. But what's nice is all the bikes that come in that go to Salvation Army get pre-registered on Project 529.
Oh, I see.
So whoever gets them, they're pre-registered. So again, we're always thinking ahead. As opposed to getting the same bike in over and over, we can get the bike back to John Smith.
I see.
Yeah, so Project
That's
529.
very interesting.
So please register your bikes.
Yeah,
it takes
it's
5
free.
minutes to register a bike on your phone. It's simple and it's really fluid to do. So the other core program is our special events. So you'll see us out. We do parades. We did Canada Day last year. It was wonderful. We'll go to this last year we did the downtown market the year end, and we set up and handing out resource material to the community, pamphlets, those little reflective feathers
That's where my kids get those feathers.
Yeah.
And they both have them on their backpacks. I thought,
Yeah,
I don't know where.
the high school. We've been handing them at the high
Well, this
school.
was
Oh, cool.
elementary, ours a little, but they both have them.
Yeah, sometimes teachers come in and get
Yeah.
them. ICBC gives them to us, one
Oh,
of our
I
funders.
see.
And so we'll do those events. We'll go to sometimes the Bulldogs games and just be there. We were at the Christmas fair this year, again, promoting people to come and join us, right? This is who we are and so on. So we'll do special events throughout the year. So that's really it in a nutshell. You know, I think last year our program put in about 3,600 hours, volunteer hours. That's amazing. Like these are people that don't want anything in return. They're willing to come forward and just give their time because they understand the value of volunteering, but also helping with community safety. Because really, the police alone can't do it all.
No.
They're busy. This is a busy community.
So are there prerequisites for them? I mean, I know Dawn is one, so it doesn't take much. But
Yeah.
like, just kidding. But
It does
like,
take time.
It does. Time
To
is
go
something I
to
don't
some
have. But
training and stuff
what,
like that.
like, do they have to clearly have a criminal record check?
Yes.
And like, is there things that could stop them from coming to help?
Yeah, you know, we're really looking for good citizens. That's the bottom line. So we do what's called a police information check to see what kind of criminal background, if any. We want, because it's a police program, it's an RCMP volunteer program, we have to fall in the guidelines with, you know, the protocols and the policies of the RCMP. So that's one step. Next step is an interview with me. So we have a face-to-face interview and see where that leads us. And then if that is all clear, then we go into the training mode. And so the new volunteer will get a training manual. So everything is organized and very well defined, like the RCMP. So the new volunteer will learn the manual, understand it, and then they'll come back, get some more training from me. And then once that happens, then we move them to operational training, and that's when they go out and learn all these core programs with one of our trainers.
And is there like an age that they can have to be to do it, or?
So well, the other prerequisite is you should have a driver's license because you're driving the vehicles around. So we will take some people with ends, but they just can't drive on their own. Obviously, they got to be
Now,
with
do you?
people.
So somebody like myself, I don't drive. I'm
You
legally,
can't volunteer.
No, but
You'll
I'm
be a
legally
distraction to
blind.
the drivers.
But I still see. Like, so could somebody like myself, and I'm not going to, but could I volunteer and ride with somebody?
Yes. You know, my number one ask is to have a license, but we do have some people without a license.
Okay.
But we have some people with a license that just don't want to drive
Yeah.
our vans or vehicles, and that's okay.
Or they're too old to drive.
Well, some people don't like to drive at night, or there's lots
Exactly.
of things, right?
Yeah, so we're flexible. So you got to have, a pretty clear lacquer driver's license, preferable. And, age is kind of, we want people around 19, 18, 19.
Yeah.
So I take it from there. So there's a fair bit of training.
Oh yeah.
The ops training is about 16 hours, out on the road, learning the different things. We've got great trainers. We've got an amazing group of people. So you're never really kind of left on your own. You always go out with a partner or partners or in groups. So you always feel safe, because safety is one of my number one priorities with our volunteers, to make sure they have the high visibility clothing on, they follow safe practices, and they're seen by the community.
And how do you like doing it?
Oh, I love it.
Did you
I
like
went
the
on my
training and
first
stuff?
crime watch. The training was very wonderful. I was trained by Dave and Jerry. He was a wonderful trainer. I mean, he's very detailed, very organized, and he's also well experienced, of course. Now, speaking of experience, I want to delve into a little bit about you, Dave. You're a retired RCMP officer. You were an RCMP officer for 33 years?
Yes, yeah.
And then...
I spent 22 years here. It was my first posting.
In Port Alberni?
Yes.
Oh,
I
that
came
adds
here
to
as
your wonderful Alberni Valley experience.
Yeah,
right there.
well, I love the town so much, but finally the RCMP figured out who I was and sent me and a bunch of other people off we were transferred, and but I always kept my family here because my wife had a good job here, and the kids really wanted to be stable with their friends. So I moved around on my own, and then after 33 years, I said that's enough, and then I applied to. I finished my career in the RCMP in Nanaimo. I was working in that area. But then there was an opening in community policing at the Nanaimo detachment. It was a civilian position. So I thought, well, I still want to give more. I'm not quite ready yet to hang it up and relax. So
And go fishing.
Go fishing, although I love fishing. So basically, I joined the Nanaimo city of Nanaimo, as the community policing coordinator there. And had a great program. Things were rolling great. But then I heard that they were civilianizing the Port Alberni position from an RCMP officer to the same as Nanaimo. So I thought, well, what better place to work is my home.
Full circle.
I call this my hometown,
Yeah.
right? Even though it's not. But man, been here for 38 years. It's home to my kids. It's home. So I applied, and I was lucky. I was awarded the position and came in and got started right away, and it was such a great feeling.
So you've been manager of community policing for how long now?
About 6 years now. 3 years here, and it was about 3 years in Nanaimo. So, but yeah, coming on 3 years here.
Okay. So for the benefit of our viewers who are watching the episode now, as I understand, how is the dynamic with community policing program and the RCMP and the city? How does it all chime in together?
Yeah, it's an interesting relationship, because initially the community policing program was really managed and supervised by an RCMP officer. So like I said, the city and the RCMP came together and said, well, maybe we should get that officer back out on the road, and we can hire a civilian with perhaps some policing experience to come in and lead the community policing program. So that's what they did. So it just freed up an officer. And with my background, I actually managed community policing when I was an officer years ago. So it was a win-win for the RCMP and the city, and a win-win for me because I could continue helping the community.
So per se, community policing is under the city.
So it's an RCMP program that's basically funded by the city. So they provide a budget, but they also provide an employee, myself. So they pay for the salary and for the kind of the operational.
The operations, yeah.
So it's a great kind of relationship because, there's fewer barriers in the city kind of landscape as opposed to the RCMP. There's a lot more kind of like rules and regulations around security. So coming to this space, a city building, and volunteers don't have to have a very extensive security clearance. Whereas at the RCMP detachment, if you need to come in, you got to have a security clearance.
So is that where you were out of until this building was finished?
So what was kind of cool here, the position, like my position, I had an office in the detachment, but the community policing volunteers had a small little kiosk down at Harbor Key.
Yeah.
Right next to the Homestead Cookhouse there. We had a little office there. It used to be open to the public, but security standards kind of changed that. It was just not secure enough for the volunteers, so they closed the office to the public, but they allowed us, the volunteers, to continue to task out of there. So they could go in and task out for the different activities. But then the city council and the city had a vision of having a public safety building, in the downtown core. So they decided to bring community policing and our bylaw department together under one roof. And the vision, was just before I started, so almost 3 years ago, got it going, and then COVID hit, and then things slowed down. But it's so nice to be kind of at the end of that journey and being here. And so the volunteers have a different flow now. They can come in and just really not feel like there's a security issue. They have full access. They have little fobs. They can come and go. And like today, they went out. The two ladies went out, did speed watch. They came back. They were cold. I said, I'm going to put the kettle on for you so you can have a cup of tea. couldn't do that really so easily in the RCMP environment. But here they came in, they felt, wow, this is really nice, you know. So when they're out doing crime watch at night, they'll come in here and they'll do their coffee or their meetings halfway through, and it's nice to have this space.
Gibson's Fine Linens presents the 5 greats of a 5-star bedroom. Great comfort, great quality, great value, great style, and a great selection. Create your own 5-star experience in the bedroom with Gibson's Fine Linens. They're not just good, they're great.
This is
Linda,
This is Linda.
and Ricky.
Linda
Hello.
and
Ricky.
Ricky. So what are you guys doing tonight?
And we're doing
Crime Watch.
Okay, what's that about? He already told us, but I wanted to hear from you.
It is making sure people stay out of trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're hoping that with this fog, we can see that people stay out of trouble.
So do you enjoy it?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
well,
just learning.
we know you volunteer everywhere. She volunteers with us too. She's wonderful. Yeah.
I did a lot of volunteering too.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
good,
yeah,
isn't it?
so-
It's a feel good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I used to own double armies. I did a lot of volunteering.
Oh, that's where I recognize you from. Yes, yes, yes.
Have a good patrol,
Thanks.
Okay.
and thank you for coming out.
Before we got into the interview, we were talking about the origins of community policing, and you said this originated because, as I understand it, community policing program is national. It's not just here in Port
Yeah, in
Alberni.
Canada,
It's not in British
community
Columbia. It's the
policing
whole
is
Canada.
not just unique to here or the island or to BC. It's a national, in some cases international. Other police forces all over the world employ community policing techniques or strategies. And, you know, it came from the roots, I'll say Sir Robert Peel from England.
I'll Google that.
Is you know, he really kind of professed community policing principles. And I'll never get his quote right, but it's something like this: the police are the community, and the community are the police. So what that really means is the police alone can't do it all, and the community alone need the police. But if you bring the two groups together, you can have a stronger kind of response to the issues. So that's why community policing really became a strategy that the police force in Canada, the RCMP, the National Police Force, embraced and started to really roll out. And I remember early on in my service, probably had maybe 5 years service, I took a course on community policing.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was like, this is the way we're going. And then, you know, understanding that really you need to get out in the community. And there's so many great people in the community, businesses and citizens, professionals that can help you. And volunteers is one of them, right? And someone said to me once, and I think this was an officer, the health of a detachment is determined by the volunteer programs that are connected to
very
that
interesting.
detachment. So in Port Alberni, we have community policing and we also have victim services. But our community policing program is really vital to police operations. You know, I'll say 2 days ago, our volunteers were out during the day, because you asked about daytime. And during Crime Watch, they have these iPads. And on the iPads is a special program that we can search license plates on to see if they're stolen. And they're driving around and using the training. They found a vehicle that seemed suspicious looking. They checked the plate. It was stolen.
Oh.
And so they were able to assist the police in recovering the stolen vehicle. Another great example was a theft from a large department store in town. It was a significant item worth thousands of dollars. It was stolen, and the police were notified. And the police notified our volunteers that were out that night. And the volunteers found the item. It was on a flatbed trailer.
Was it a
And
hot
called
tub?
the police. It was like it was a hot tub, a soft tub.
Or a
right?
swimming pool?
Yeah, or something like that. And they called the police. The police came, made an arrest, got the property back. So those type of relations are great. They found impaired drivers and called that in, and resulting in an arrest. They found people in distress, people that have overdosed, people that are intoxicated that need help, people that are having a crisis, we can connect them to our coast crisis line here in Port Alberni, and they have a team, a response team that comes out. So it's all about those relationships that's kind of entrenched in the community policing principles, right? So again, the police are the community, and the community really are the police in many respects. So got to have that marriage, so to speak, to make it more successful.
So it's come a long way from
Oh, yeah.
when I was a kid and we had those signs in our windows. I don't
Yes.
remember what they said, but I know we
Block
had one.
parent.
Yeah, we had them in our windows.
Really,
And-
block parent.
Is that what it
Okay.
said? I don't
Yeah.
remember it. I just visually remember there being a sign in our window.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I used to have one. I still have it at home somewhere, but the block parent program was if someone was in distress, mostly a kid, if they're in trouble or they needed help, they could go to that house with that sign in the window, knowing it's a safe space and they would get help, right?
Never knew what it was.
That's still around.
Carolina were in charge of a program that we called Boss Mama.
No, but I just remember the sign. I didn't actually know what it was for. I just knew it was something to do with. Yeah.
But what we have here is called Block Watch.
Okay.
Okay.
And Block Watch is a provincial program, blockwatch.com, and we have blocks that sign up. It's an organized program. I'm kind of the coordinator of that. And so a neighborhood can come together and become a block watch. And then we have a captain and a co-captain. And those people are kind of like the coordinators or the communicators between the police and their block. So they get special training. I provide them special training. And there's nothing more than observe and report, right? There's no hands-on, there's none of that. It's like, okay, so as a neighborhood now, we're going to become more aware of what's happening. So there could be communication. Hey, I caught something on my camera the other night. Be aware, around 3 o'clock, this is what happened. And then communicating it amongst each other to build more awareness. Being seen, being out on the street or being seen in your yard in case people are walking along and looking into yards, potential theft. So those are great programs, and we have registered block watches here in Port Alberni, and I encourage anyone that wants to kind of start that up to get in touch with me, because
Okay.
it's another structured volunteer program.
So just as a matter of information, how do they get in touch with you? Like they come here?
They can come
Go to the
here and see
website?
me here, but the website actually has a lot of great information on Block Watch, on community policing, on our victim services program. So it's just PA, like Port Alberni, communitypolicing.com, or just Google Community Policing Port Alberni, and you'll see our open website.
Okay, so if I have followed you correctly, you got involved with community policing here in Port Alberni 3 years ago, or you've been running the program for 3 years or more than that?
Yeah, about 3 years here.
Okay. Now, prior to you being involved, who was in charge of was community policing even existing in Port Alberni
Oh
before you?
yes, community policing has been in existence here for years, and up until recently, up until I started, it has been managed or supervised by an RCMP officer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So it was run by the RCMP. Then
Yeah.
you heard about being put in the civilian position, so it was perfect timing for you as well.
It worked out great for me.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've
Well,
always
speaking
wanted
of
to come
which,
back
that
here.
worked out great is our new home or our new building, which
Yes, the public safety building.
could you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go for a tour.
It's finally happened through some delays and just COVID times and it's getting hard to getting things, but finally it's happened. And I'd say a little more than a month ago, we had our soft opening, and we brought our bylaw officer team in, the community policing team rolled in, and now we're working. I call it in harmony, because everyone feels comfortable together. But that didn't happen overnight. I brought the two groups together at different times for different social events and training events, so that everyone knew who's who in the zoo, and that there was no, okay, who are those people? And I didn't want any of that to happen. It's like, oh, there's Bob. Oh, there's Jane. How you doing? So that way the volunteers feel really comfortable coming and going, as well as our bylaw staff also go, yeah, these are vital people to safety. So it's been awesome. We offer 3 services here. The community policing volunteer program is here. Our bylaw services program is here, and we have a public washroom located in our lobby,
Okay.
and it's open to the public during business hours when the building is open.
Okay. So how long did it take for the building to finally come together and open its doors? And
Well, the vision kind of started, myself and a previous manager kind of got it rolling with kind of the concept. The city bought the building. We looked for the building. Council was kind of inspirational in the vision, and thus they found the building, they purchased the building, and then we had to kind of create the design. And so we came up with kind of our ideas, and then we got an architect involved, and then the snowball from there. So it started when I first, probably in early 2020, is really kind of when the concept kind of got rolling, and then delays happened because of
COVID,
the world. But then it really got rolling last, I guess, May, June, like the significant stuff started happening, right?
Yeah.
And it was really, for me, it was like I was a kid in a candy shop. Okay, what's next? And then oh, they got a wall up. Oh, great. And oh, that's going to be where my office is. And this is where we're going to put the volunteers. And it was nice to work with the contractors to make our space really user friendly.
As an uptown merchant, it was nice to watch. Like we watched it from nothing to this. Like
Wow.
it's nice because I walk by every day.
yeah,
And yeah,
you're just right next door.
Yeah, and I got to
definitely
know
they are
people
welcome
and-
neighbors, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the whole concept for the building is it's not just bylaws and community policing. We're hoping that the police officers will come in here and stage, so meaning they can park their cars out front and come in and do paperwork or be in this area. So having the police component here is very welcomed, and the RCMP is on board with that. They see the value. Also, other user groups like our victim services come in and use it because it's close to the courthouse if they need to, work with victims that are preparing for court. Or so we have our restorative justice group that comes in here and meets.
Oh, that's nice.
And other user groups will come in here and use this space. So it's meant to be a bit of a hub in a way to help, like under the safety umbrella, to really be tasked that way. So it's just not just those two programs, but it's going to evolve.
but it's just nice to have a nice, clean, sleek building on the street.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you notice the kind of the facade of the building, it's got the cedar.
Yeah.
It was meant to kind of mirror the city hall.
Yeah.
So to
I
make
see.
people draw that connection between, make it they know it's a city building, because public safety. What does that mean? But people come in here and really talk to any bylaw complaints they have. Our bylaw officers are here now. Eventually, not quite yet, you'll be able to pay your bylaw fines or tickets here. Still, it's at City Hall, but it's meant to be a separate entity. Before, bylaws was in the basement of City Hall and kind of out of the way, but now you'll see the bylaw vehicles parked up front. Again,
Well, I feel like if
presence.
you had a bylaw complaint before, you just didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Like people complained on Facebook, but they didn't know where to actually
Yeah.
complain. And now there's a
And now here it
welcoming front
is
door.
on
You
3rd
come
Avenue.
right in.
Yeah.
yeah, you can come in, you can call, and you can go online and make a bylaw complaint or launch a file. So it's an easy one way or the other.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen of Port Alberni and Vancouver Island and whoever's watching this on YouTube. This is all part of our wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. We have Dave Cusson, the manager. We have our volunteers. We have the city, we have the RCMP. We have the ICBC all in support and all. Like you said, I like that word you used, harmony. It's so nice to be in harmony.
And the partnerships we have, RCMP is a partner, the city is a partner, ICBC is a partner, the Co-op is a partner. They provide fuel for one of our vehicles. It's great to have those partnerships because it's real that way. It's grassroots, and it's just an awesome program. And other programs, believe it or not, from around the island have come and looked at our model and they're interested. And,
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I understand you also like work together in some events or activities with other community policing, like in Nanaimo or going bowling sometime, right?
yeah, so like we have community policing in Nanaimo, my old group. We have community policing in Parksville. So we have a little bit of a kind of an area. And sometimes we get together for social events. And so last April during National Volunteer Week, uh, the Nanaimo group didn't have a coordinator. The position was vacant. And I said, what's happening for this group? And they said, well, we're not sure. I said, can we invite them over? And it was great. So they came over and they did some bowling because we have 3 appreciation events a year for our volunteers. So it was great because then they made new friends. And then the cool thing is now they have a coordinator. They're inviting us to their event
We're
in
going.
April.
When are we going again?
In April during National Volunteer Week. So
Gonna get a party bus. No.
yeah, right. But so it's good to kind of have those networking opportunities. In the spring, we have our bowling during National Volunteer Week. Then in the summer, we have a picnic.
Oh, okay.
And then before Christmas, we have our volunteer Christmas dinner. And these events are really meant to say thank you because they're not paid. And those thank you events, I think, are very important
Oh yeah.
for the volunteers. And that's when we all get together. We also have regular meetings every 2 months with myself, and we talk about procedures and policies and gathering ideas and so on. So we're looking for good volunteers. So I know Don.
Yeah, I'll give you this
convinced
chance to make an appeal to the people watching.
If you got some time and you want to help make a difference with community safety with our core programs, apply. We have a lot of people that call in and complain, but I always say, don't cry, apply. It's
Say that
simple.
again. Say that again.
Don't cry, apply.
Yeah.
Come and give us a hand. And, there's so many great opportunities and activities that you can go in. And if you have, all I'm asking for is about 12 hours a month, 12 to 20 hours a month. So 2 or 3 shifts a month to come and spend some time and make that extra difference. And what's really cool, some of the spin-offs are not just the volunteering piece, but the friendships that are made within the group. So sometimes newcomers to the community have no knowledge. And the one Linda that was here, she's new to the community, and so she decided to
great,
entrench
'cause
into
she
the.
Oh, I didn't know Linda. Linda was just new to Port Alberni?
Yeah.
Well, there you
she
go.
volunteers with us. She volunteers with Sage Haven. She volunteers
Yeah.
with another group, and then that's a great way to connect.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But the friendships are great. And so if you got a pal that, hey, what do we want to do? Come on down. We have actually like friends that show up and go, we're here to volunteer because we're friends and we want to help out with Speed Watch or whatever.
Well, that's how I started. I'm friends with Johanna, who's one of your
Yes.
captains.
Yeah. So if you got that time and you meet the criteria, just reach out. You can come and see me at the detachment or here. Send me an email. If you go to the website, pacommunitypolicing.com, my contact information is there. You can call me, email me. We have an application that you can pick up either here at the public safety building or at the detachment. It's very easy to find me or reach out via email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So it's hard to find volunteers in this day and age, and we need people to help with safety activities. It helps the community when you look at the things that they can contribute. And the RCMP appreciates it. They see the value, they support it, and they thank us for it.
I would like to echo what he just said. Don't cry, apply. I mean, I read so many rants on AV Chatter every day. So my response to those rants, don't cry, apply. Can you give the address of this place so they can drop by maybe?
Well, we're on 3rd Avenue, and 3075 3rd Avenue. We're in right next to the empty parking lot between us and Steampunks. And it's pretty hard to miss. Public Safety Building, the new building on the block. Come
Yep.
on down and say hi and come, grab an application.
That's all the time we have for another episode of the Wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Carol Ann. And now we're going on that tour. Remember, you are all part, and you can always contribute to make this more of a wonderful Alberni Valley experience. See you next time.
Hi, Carol Ann here from The Wave, and we are here with Dave Cusson, who is the Community Policing Manager, and we are at the Public Safety Building on 3rd, just next door to us. So tell me a little bit about it, and let's take a little tour.
We're in the lobby, so when you come in the doors, here you are. Like I said earlier, we have a public washroom, and it's open during office hours.
Yeah.
So.
And what is office hours?
Office hours are 8:30 to 5,
Okay.
I believe, Monday to Friday. So if you see someone in here during the day, then it's probably open.
You want to show us the rest?
We have a handicap counter here, so people come in a wheelchair. It's wheelchair accessible. They can come in and talk to our front counter staff. So once inside, we have our bylaw clerk who sits here, and she answers the phone inquiries and anyone that comes in to the front door with inquiries. Community policing volunteer desks, and so when they come in and do any sort of administrative work, this is their space. So again, they're integrated in, and everyone kind of it just flows. It's a nice flow in this area. So from here, we go down. There's 2 managers' offices here. My office is here, again, close to the action here with the volunteers. And then next here is the community safety manager, so the overall manager for
and who's our community safety manager?
Presently, we have Mark Zenko, who's
Okay.
our acting community safety manager.
Okay.
And because the regular one has been off. We have our bylaw officer's office, and it's locked right now. But our bylaw officers work out here. We have 2 bylaw officers, and so this is their area that they task out of. And we have our common space. So this is a dual purpose space. We have, of course, a kitchen, but we also have this beautiful table. I gotta get this table. This is out of the Somas Mill, out of the boardroom. So when the city took over the mill site, we looked at trying to bring in something that was old but repurposable. So our city carpenters refinished the table, and it's just beautiful. It just fits so nice, so nice in here and inviting. But this is also a secondary meeting space. So if our main room is busy, we can actually have another meeting out here. So it's a great place to gather. Volunteers can come in and use it. Our staff can use it, or external groups. You know this room, this is our common space, our training, our boardroom, however you want to call it. It's very flexible. We can shut it off, close it down. We can have the RCMP working in here. We can have meetings, training. We have the multi-media equipment here. We can do Zooms, training, presentations. So it's really nice. This room really gets used in different ways. Our community policing volunteer tasking area. So these are those magnetic door signs that go on the city vehicles when they're out and about on patrol. We have all of our equipment here. So when the volunteers are out, they have radio communication, flashlights, and such so that they can remain safe and stay in touch. We have our safety kits, and then just all of our paperwork. Our iPads are out right now on patrol, but they have a variety of apps that they can use. We talked about the stolen auto recovery app, so they're out checking for plates. We use it for delivering those letters. It's an actual delivery app that tells them how to go from point A to point Z, and so it's a very useful piece of technology. And just, you know, all of our paperwork and our tasking is all done out of here. So it's a great common space.
Well, it's a beautiful building.
Yeah, and
it is nice.
They can come in and go out of that door. They can bring the car in, and they find that it's a lot less cumbersome.